And we're live. Thank you for joining me tonight. It's the night before D-Day. I had 2 weeks off. It's been interesting. So again, thanks for joining me today. Tonight we're gonna review the protocol. It's written out. I'll put it on the screen. I'm not going to say any parts of the protocol that I am or am not taking. I'm going to repeat this several times as people file in here. I can't say everything that I am or am not taking. This is not medical advice. I'm just recording my journey. And in here, we have a bunch of things that I have learned along the way. So I've actually taken some time and typed up everything, and I can do a screen share and show everything that is going on in my protocol and everything that other people are doing, because I've heard a lot of stories of people using the full Press Pulse protocol. And so we will review all of those things that people are doing. Everybody needs to forgive me. My writing is not the best as we review everything that I am doing. So I did a quick update the other day. Unfortunately, I got extremely sick yesterday and required hydromorphone. I got extreme pain. I spent most of the day today vomiting. I get extreme pain through here and through here underneath. It's from my surgery. It's from my pylorus muscle. They call it reverse gastral emptying. And so food just doesn't want to get through and process, so it comes backwards, and it's very violent, and the pain is just the worst pain. I wouldn't wish it on anyone, and the pain alone screws up my glucose. So we are going to, I guess we'll let some people file in a little bit more. Maybe we can review what I ate, because I ended up not having any protein shakes and having small amounts of protein yesterday and today. So maybe we can go over that. All right, let's share screens. Share screen. Oh, well, that's crazy. I can't share entire screen. Well, I have a spreadsheet and a Word document. I don't know how to share it. Select a tab, window. Here we go. Document. All right. Well, it won't let me share an Excel spreadsheet apparently, guys. That's crazy. Oh, here we go. Share. So here we go. Now we're getting somewhere. So here, this is my spreadsheet that I use. I had some help creating it. I don't want to say where I got it from, but basically everything is on here. I hope you guys can see this, and I hope it's coming through clearly. I'm just going to make my screen full screen here so I can see better. There we go. So if we look here, so across the bottom, I record every day by the day. And I'm not very good at keeping good records. One of the things that I miss out on a lot of the time is recording my fat intake. So I need to do a better job of recording how much fat I eat. I don't record enough. I tend to get lazy on that front. Fat is important. And so what I'm using for fat is things like MCT oil, butter, and coconut oil. I've had to switch to coconut oil. I'm trying to implement some cod liver oil. And again, you want to be at a minimum 2-to-1 ketogenic ratio. Oh, zoom in. It's a little glitchy there when I zoom in. So today I had half an egg omelet with a little bit of feta cheese in it. So I didn't have very much egg. I was going to have protein shakes. I decided to go with an egg instead because I'm trying to restrict myself for D-Day. I had about half an egg of egg salad for lunch. So that was it. So very little. I had fat in every one of these meals. As you can see, I didn't record it though, but it was MCT oil and coconut oil. As we go down here for dinner, I had 30 grams only of ribeye steak, which is not very much ribeye steak. I had asparagus. I had 5 pieces of asparagus, but I had like 5 tablespoons of hollandaise sauce. So that's all I ate today. The fat, again, I didn't record all the tablespoons I ate, but I was constantly putting in fat to try to get my ketones up for D-Day. Unfortunately, I didn't have anything for meal 4 yet. As you can see, sick at 1 o'clock. I needed hydromorphone, and well, maybe later than that. I don't record the time, but I've been extremely sick today and extremely sick yesterday. Yesterday is a similar type situation. I was gonna have some protein shake and stuff, but I decided to have real food. My wife made dill scrambled eggs. I had half an egg yesterday for breakfast. A keto BLT wrap, so just lettuce and bacon and a little bit of tomato. And I had for dinner, I got violently ill last night. We were at a family get together, and so a quarter of a hamburger patty, so about 25 grams, a very small sausage, about 40 grams, a quarter cup of cucumbers, and a quarter cup of salad. So very little, and I threw all of it up. So I should have stuck to the bone broth. I said I was going to do that, and I didn't. So that's what I ate the last 2 days. Like, as you can see, it's very restricted for D-Day now that I have a 21-day cycle of D-Days. Right around the D-Days, I would really try to restrict myself, get my fat intake up so that I can handle the hyperbaric oxygen and everything that I'm taking. So that's really the diet part so far. Now I got a Word document. We can get into more of the protocol. I'm not gonna say what I'm doing. This is all about what I've heard people are doing. There's many ways to pulse cancer, and some of it I can't say right now. All the things that I am doing, specifically in this protocol. I'm not giving medical advice. I'm just recording my journey and what I've heard people are doing to press and pulse their cancer. I've put everything I have heard from people in this document. I am not participating in all of it. My press and pulse is immunotherapy and chemo. So that is exactly what I am doing to pulse my cancer. I will say that much because that's no secret. The rest of it is to be shared at a later date. So when we get into what I have heard of people doing, let me just hop over here and stop send. Okay, and let's share screen and present, share screen, window. I wish I was quicker at this. I feel like these delays really mess up the lives. Not this one. Oh my goodness. Technology, eh? I'm just learning how to do all this. I don't have a background that does this, unfortunately. Okay, there we go. So this is the press pulse protocol. I've taken all the literature and everything I could find and I've wrote it down. I have links to the original publication. This is my terrible writing. I had somebody help me make it much, much, much better. Thank you to that individual. I also want to thank you for the new studio light. One of our subscribers sent me a new studio light, so hopefully my lighting and video is looking better than normal. So thank you to that individual. It's looking awesome to me. So thank you so much. It really is helping here. So it really is putting a smile on my face. So right here, I just have a little review of the press pulse protocol from Professor Seyfried. The biggest problem I'm finding with people that are reaching out is there's so much literature, and Professor Seyfried talks a lot about the science and all of these things, but he doesn't put it in paper in a way to apply it. So we're going to take some time to discuss how people are applying the full protocol, not just the diet. So how do you fully press pulse your cancer? And I've wrote it all down into a practical way. I've gotten some information from other people, other sources. I don't know if I can thank everybody that has helped out in putting this together because I don't have their permission. So I'm not going to thank anybody, but this is what I am doing. This is my journey. This is not medical advice. And this is everything I have gathered that people are attempting to do. And I'm going to share administration of different things. I'm going to just share what I've heard of everybody doing. And again, I'm not going to say this is what I am doing. This is not what I am doing. This is all of the pieces put together that I have heard of people doing. So first of all is the diet. And again, everybody knows about the diet. They can't hear about it enough. So again, if you use the St. Jour formula to calculate your required calorie intake based on your height, weight, and your energy output, that's going to give you a rough place to start. I wonder if I can write on this stylist. Editor. I don't know how to use Word, so this isn't going to go well. Edit. Okay, so no, I can't write. So I can just highlight here, maybe like this. So right here, you got the St. Jour formula. Figure out your required calorie intake, okay? And that gives you a starting point. So if you need to adjust from there, we can adjust from there. And again, if you do a spreadsheet like I previously showed and track everything, it makes it much easier to adjust. The objective is to achieve and maintain a state of ketosis, specified targets, glucose, ketones, and GKI levels. So that's the goal. I was doing 5 meals a day. Unfortunately, it was giving me really good GKI, but again, when I'm getting sick, the pain is just screwing everything up. It's not going so well, but it doesn't matter if you eat 5 meals or 3 meals. So in the press pulse protocol, you really want to keep glucose levels. So what I've found using my glucose monitor and what I've heard from other reputable sources is spreading out your meals over a prolonged period of time keeps glucose absolutely level, so you can keep the press on the cancer. I mean, you can go OMAD and you're going to get a huge spike, but maybe the benefits, I think it's too early to say OMAD. Maybe the benefits of the intermittent fasting outweigh the spike in glucose. I really don't know those answers, but I guess time will tell as the new scientific literature comes out. Testing for your diet, again, if you test morning and night, I suck at getting frequent enough testing. I actually write it on my spreadsheet. But again, you test morning and night and you take your average. You really want to target 70 glucose and ketones at around 3 would be perfect. That gives you around 2.0 GKI. But I don't really worry about GKI. I know Professor Seyfried pushes GKI. I really focus during these actual practical press and pulses. I'm targeting glucose when I really pulse the cancer. It's really glucose I'm worried about. And I need the ketones so I don't go into a coma. So if you can, I'll tell you right. Oh, I don't know what I just did. So let me undo that. Nope, don't save it. Undo it. If you can get a level glucose in the 80s with the help of metformin and DAPA, you can DAPA. What's the full name? It's I should get that because it's important. But I've heard this isn't medical advice, but I've heard physicians can prescribe DAPA, and some are willing to do it to prescribe it in combination with metformin. So if you have a physician you can work with, especially an HBOT doctor, it's called dapagliflozin. But if you can keep steady glucose low 80s, a little bit of metformin and DAPA, you can get low 70s and even into the 60s. So I've had a lot of people reaching out thinking they're doing horrible, but they're just on the diet alone, like 80, 85. You're actually killing it. You just need a little bit of help from a physician. I've heard that makes a big difference. I'm working on I'm not going to say what I'm doing. Meal preparation. One quick meal you can do is just weighed out protein and some MCT oil in a shaker bottle. Mine's very important here to maintain cortisol levels. So whatever you got to do, get a massage, go for a walk. And as you guys know, with a doctor legally through Health Canada, I was able to do psychedelics, end of life treatment. Weight here is very important. I was previously talking about oxandrolone, which is something you can have a prescription for. I've recently learned some new information that may be better. I think it was SARMs or SAMS. If you look up LGD4033 or MK677, I heard from a reputable doctor that it possibly may be better than oxandrolone for maintaining muscle mass. And I'm not sure on the details. I've not looked into it yet. I just wanted to input this in here to make sure it was in here. I got some new information here on HBOT, hyperbaric oxygen. I thought Dom D'Agostino, all of his research is showing 2.5. And as you can see, I've wrote out here 2.4, and I have links to the publications here in my document. But if we look at here, what I learned from some trustworthy people is we don't really know the long-term benefits of any sort of HBOT because it's all short-term in the lab, which is interesting. And I really want to get Dom D'Agostino on here. But at 2.2 even, or even 2.0, if you're consistently applying HBOT, it may have good benefits as well in fighting cancer. Maybe you have to be at the higher amounts, but I think what I learned is there's a big question mark. So I think the important thing, because we don't know, is get in the highest pressure possible. I heard somebody was doing 3 with some air breaks, but only at 60 minutes. They wouldn't go higher at 3, and I just my advice was to notch it down a bit to 2.6 and try to get the time period back out to 90 minutes. I think the longer time periods quite important, and it's above 2.5. But again, I mean, we got to get Dom on. There's a lot of good questions surrounding HBOT here. But yeah, I was talking to somebody that is pretty well pretty reputable in the press pulse protocol that I would really trust. And I've heard people doing 2.2, 2.0, and apparently that may be sufficient. But really 90 minutes would be good if you can. It seems like that seems to be important. My HBOT doctor has read the literature constantly, and I asked him what 90 minutes means. Is it your time up, time down? He's even having an issue with that. He's unsure. So ROS, radical oxygen species. So basically your body's full of oxygen at that pressure, pure oxygen. The oxygen's entering your cells, and your healthy cells can it's pressure on your healthy cells, but they can use oxidative phosphorylation and the reactive oxygen species and all that's occurring. But and the ketones are there, your body, your healthy cells can bypass it. Cancer cells can't use that and they self-implode. So if you're generating ROS at any pressure or length of time, I think it's going to be beneficial in at least managing the cancer. My goal is NED. Glutamine blockers. Some people are using sodium phenylbutyrate. It's something you get prescribed for. Um, I don't really know what the framework would look like for using sodium phenylbutyrate. I'm really unclear on that. So now we're going to get into what I've heard people are doing. There's something called DAWN, 6-diazo 5-oxo L-leucine. So there's a huge groups of people that are using 6-diazo 5-oxo L-leucine. It's amazing how many people are using this, and it's in the Press Pulse protocol. It's been published quite thoroughly by Professor Thomas Seyfried and his group and some other people, the Hippocratics, then Stacy, all these people have talked about this. And so right here, I kind of have a typo. I stopped at day 12. That needs to continue, which we'll deal with here in a minute. People can get it in China. People are getting it. I've heard in North America. There's ways of doing this. You can do it. I, I guess one thing that's not written in here is how to administer it. I've heard people are reconditioning it into sub-Q injections, which you have to be very careful to do because of infections. Having said that, a diabetic is trained pretty quickly on doing sub-Q, but I don't know enough about it to give it. This is not medical advice. I've heard people are doing it. I've heard people are doing it intravenously. I heard people are having home care hook up H2O or like fluids, and then the nurse like home care at their home. The nurse is leaving, they're reconditioning it into that. I've heard of that, which again, I don't know anything about it. How you would go about it. I'm sure it's pretty simple, and you can probably buy the stuff online. I have no idea. I've heard people are doing this. They're taking it orally, using enteric capsules, so it bypasses the stomach acid and goes directly into the bowels, but it still may be processed through the liver. I've heard people are doing this under the tongue, where it goes directly into the bloodstream. From the majority, I believe Dan Stacy did it under the tongue, and I believe a majority of people, just to reduce the risks of infection and to simplify the process, I believe people are doing this under the tongue. I think that seems to be the most common. I really don't know, guys. I'm not gonna get into I'm just sharing what people are doing. I think that's the best way to handle this right now. But I hear that they are doing it a half hour before they get into HBOT. That's what I hear they're doing. I have some doses written down here. But I hear that you dose it over 20 days. It starts at zero point 0.2 milligrams per kilogram, zero point 0.3 milligrams per kilogram, zero point 0.4, zero point 0.5, zero point 0.6, zero point 0.8, so on and so forth. So I started to write it out. You guys get the point. My hands hurt too much. I couldn't finish writing it out. You guys can continue it on. You can see the pattern. But this is how people are dose increasing this, and they're using psyllium husk, which I wrote down here, which we'll get into in a minute. But yeah, people, and then once people get into around 40 milligrams, I've heard many theories on this. People are taking the full 30 milligrams. I've heard under the tongue. I've heard they're drinking it. But I've heard that they're split dosing it. So they're doing like an hour and a half before. They're doing half a dose, I've heard, and then they're doing the other half right before HBOT, like 10 minutes before, I've heard. I've heard they're doing that to get maximum coverage. Um, I don't know what the best ways are of going about this. I don't Nobody does. I've heard so many stories about this and different ways of going about it. So this would be a pulse for sure. HBOT is an interesting one. Is it a press or a pulse? I've been asked. I think it's both. Press pulse, I wrote here. You got the ROS, which is definitely a pulse, and you got the reduction in glucose. Like you can get a 15 to 20% reduction in glucose when you're in there. When you get into glutamine blockers that are temporary, I think sodium phenylbutyrate is more longer acting. It's probably more on the press side. I don't know enough about it. I've heard people are using it, and I've also heard some theories about mixing it with Dawn. That seems to be getting way out of my scope of knowledge, mixing two glutamine blockers together. Um, I was curious though if people used sodium phenylbutyrate on their 2 weeks off of using 6-diazo Dawn. No idea. I haven't heard anybody doing that, but keep the pressure on. But you need I don't know, that sounds crazy because your body and your healthy cells need glutamine. So you can't just always be blocking glutamine. So here, day 4, 0, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20 dosing cycle. I kind of started writing it out. It would continue on. Here's cycle 2, same thing. You would continue it on. You get the point. My fingers hurt. I couldn't keep writing. So here's what people are doing for the toxic side effects to the gastrointestinal system. They're using psyllium husk, and I've heard people are dose increasing it. I have no idea, but I've heard people are taking upwards of 30 grams of psyllium husk 2 nights before D-Day and 1 night before their D-Day. Everybody has a different style of D-Day, different ways, different substrates, different things of using. My D-Days are really involving, for sure, we'll say immunotherapy and chemotherapy, not radiation for me, but psyllium husk, people are 2 nights before and the night before going up to again. As they're working their way up, they're increasing psyllium husk. So at lower doses, they're taking smaller amounts of psyllium husk. And when they're getting toxic side effects, they're increasing this upwards of 30 grams 2 nights before and the night before. They're also taking psyllium husk during the protocol 3 times a day, morning, lunch, and night, even on their off days that they're not taking large dose to keep it in their system. Apparently, this is protecting their gastrointestinal system from the toxic side effects of 6-diazo 5-oxo-L-nulorazine. Again, as a pulse, we can get into immunotherapies and all this. Everybody knows about that. Just basically talk to your oncologist about these things. I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to get into that. I am using a low-dose chemo and immunotherapy. So again, that's how everybody is using 6-diazo 5-oxo-L-nulorazine. I'm not a doctor. I'm recording my journey, and in this paper, I am just recording the journey of others. I've put it all together. I've read the Press Pulse protocol. I've read a lot of literature, and I'm just trying to put it into a practical protocol somebody can use. I'm not saying this is what I am doing. I am simply saying this is what people I've heard are doing. Fembendazole and membendazole. I got a publication here on it. It has huge benefits. And every single study being conducted right now is 50 to 100 milligrams per kilogram of body weight. So much talk about 222 milligrams. That was a number that came from Joe Tippins. That's not what they're doing now, guys. I'm sorry to break it to you. You gotta, if you wanna be up with the literature and the ever-evolving press pulse protocols, mebendazole and fembendazole, this is what the literature is doing. I'm not saying it's what I'm doing. I'm not advising anybody to do it. What I did hear is that people that are doing it are testing their liver enzymes frequently and their blood work to make sure that their liver enzymes are not getting out of control. Again, I don't want to get into this too much because there's enough said about it. But again, the publications and the dosing is 50 to 100 minimum. This link here goes to a publication by Boston College or Boston University, I guess it's called in Canada, Boston College in the States. And it talks about it's finding the lethal dose. 200 milligrams was still sufficient. It was doing mebendazole. So again, you can get these prescriptions from a doctor. There's many ways of getting them. So in summary, the protocols of what people are using is quite limited. It's not. I'm gonna make a video on this if I can remember. I gotta start writing down video ideas, but this is all people are using. It's not 30 supplements. When people are press and pulsing, they're really focusing in and keying in. I mean, I'm not saying throwing in some vitamin D is gonna hurt, uh, but they're not going and doing other things. They're sticking to these things. HBOT 3, 4, 5 days a week. They're pulsing on that schedule and followed with 2-week break after the 21-day cycle. This is how people are handling this. And so these are my notes. I'm not saying any of this is advice. None of this is necessarily what I am doing. Actually, a lot of this I'm not doing. Um, this is just what I've heard people are doing. I'm putting it out there so people can get ideas and start applying this knowledge, because let's fully press and pulse this cancer and go NED. And yeah. So yeah, let's hear some questions. We got people logged in here. Let's get these comments rocking. Let's have some interaction. If you want to call in, there's a call in link. Go for it. If you want to ask questions, shoot. Let's have at her. But yeah, so that's where we're at. I was gonna maybe check my GKI. Maybe we can do that while people wanna start saying hi in the comments and starting to talk. Again, I was sick, took Hydromorph. This always messes me up. We got more people coming in. So I'll do a quick, it's not gonna be good. This messes up my numbers. 2 days of Hydromorph, so it's gonna be kind of embarrassment. But you saw my diet, it was very limited, extremely restricted. Hi, Kathy. Thank you. Thank you. I hope it helps people. That's just all the stuff I've heard. But people, and one of the big things is people doing press pulse and using all of these things. They're not adding a ton of stuff. I think that is a key focus here to put in, and they're not fasting. And if they are, it's very short periods, because these 21-day protocols are extremely long. So let's get your diet under control and use some of this. Let's find a doctor that'll work with you. All right. Well, I didn't grab a Kleenex. No, I always forget the Kleenex. I'll just wipe it off. Somebody's gonna say you didn't do this right. I'm sorry. I'm not worried about it. Glucose. I just finished throwing up all day, so I've been in extreme pain. It's actually not bad. It's 95, which is better than I expected. Ketones won't be good because everything I put in my stomach came out, so it was rough. Like I'm expecting ketones to be between 0.5 and 1 only. Like, I'm not expecting great results here. By the morning, when I go to HBOT, they'll probably be about 1.5. Because I am in ketosis most of the time, even when I am sick. It's the fight with the pain is just messing up everything, and I have a very hard time getting enough fat or anything in me. And so the last 2 days, that's been the issue. Ketones are at 0.7. Tomorrow morning, that'll be up around 1.1, 1.3. I'll fast in the morning till I get to HBOT. It's D-Day. And so I'll be taking my protocol, not the protocol I just showed. I'm not on that protocol. I can't admit to everything I'm on. If I get NED, I will publish everything I am on. That's the goal, and everybody can see. That was a very broad-based what I've heard everybody's doing. I'm not gonna get into what I am doing. I cannot share that information, and I will not share it. I am not doing everything that's on that. That is what I've heard other people are doing. So tomorrow morning, I'll be 1.2 to 1.5. Hi, Biz. I can't read that name from Vegas. Biz Pix Vegas. Put some money on red for me if you're in Vegas, would you? 25 bucks. That's always my go-to. I always put 25 bucks on red. That's all I gamble is one shot. Not a big gambler. Anyhow, yeah, in the morning I'll have that. So the problem with not having my ketones high is to get in hyperbaric oxygen is that I can't take a larger dose. My doctor's aware of metformin. Yeah, if I take a larger dose of metformin in the morning, like I'll wake up, my glucose will actually be down to about 85, 80. I know it will be. My ketones will be around 1.2, 1.5. If I'm lucky, I can get some fat in me in the morning and I can get those ketones up a little farther. I'm hoping to get some exogenous ketones. One of our fabulous subscribers has sent me some exogenous ketones. That would actually probably help bump it up. But I can't drive my glucose too low because I would go into a seizure in the hyperbaric oxygen. Did you come across any literature talking about femben taking while fasting? I know Dennis was doing femben. Yeah, there's femben. You can do femben while fasting, but again, once you get into full press pulse protocols, like I mean, it's you're not going to fast for 21 days. You really got to I really want to switch the narrative on fasting. I really want to try to get this message out there. You don't need to. And your muscle mass and your body mass is so important. This is a marathon, not a sprint. I mean, yeah, fast away if you think it's going to work, but it's not necessary. I mean, you can easily get your diet right. Like, look, I've been barfing on that all day in extreme pain, hydromorph, injections, because I can't take it orally. I only just settled down about 2 hours ago was the last time I barfed, and my glucose and all of that pain and all that barfing still only 95. That's at the high. So it's easy to get it down to 80. So metformin and DAPA, you're 65. If you're rocking 65 glucose, like you're gonna have a topsy and my topsy, maybe not at the same level as fasting, but this is a marathon. So the everyday, day in and day out, keeping that press, long-term benefits, I think, are gonna be astronomical. If you're heavier fast, I've heard people regret that. I don't disagree, but if you don't outfast your cancer, you're gonna look like me. And if you're stage 4, this is so I don't disagree, but if you're at your normal body weight, definitely don't fast. If like I was 160 muscle before I started this. Now I've been down to 120. I'm currently 130. Heavier people, if you have the excess body weight, can you get away with it? It's a fabulous point to make, Kathy. Like if you can outfast your cancer, fast it. I think that's the answer. I don't know how you answer that. Because if you don't outfast the cancer, what are you going to do? I think that's a fair question to open up the conversation. I really want to get these conversations going. I myself may fast in this protocol. Okay. So I'm not against it. I may go to a fat fast like a day before D-Day because I'm throwing up all my food. If I have like and so I ended up throwing up, and that's why I ended up eating small amounts, trying to get some protein in me. It's a really tough question. Hi, Happy Dingo 64. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm an inspiration. Kathy has a follow-up point here. Have a weight level to stop. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. However, I don't want people to use fasting. Fasting's easier in getting your diet under control. So I don't want people using that as an excuse anymore not to. I want to see people hitting the numbers while eating before they start fasting. I think that's a fair, or maybe I'm wrong, I don't know, but why can't people hit the numbers eating? Why is it only when they're fasting? I'm gonna put that back because I see a lot of people using a fast to hit their numbers, but I wanna see people eating to do it. I think it can be done. It can, yeah, agreed. Thank you, Kathy. So I'm just trying to change the narrative. So I'm not against fasting. Like, heck, I might fast during this protocol. My plan was to basically do almost fasting this weekend. I was so sick and I can't lose any more body mass. I had to try to get food in me. So that was my plan. Unfortunately, putting more food in equaled more barfing. So from Vegas, you are absolutely right on fasting not being sustainable. It's not during a press pulse protocol for 21 days. The protocol I just showed that, oh, and it's a very broad-based protocol. It's not sustainable. That's the issue. I just want to open up the conversation. I'm not against fasting. I may be fasting. I'm going to make that very clear. I'm not going to say I'm not going to fast. I may be fasting. I'm going to try to do as many of these lives this time at night again during this 21 days. And I'm gonna tell you when I'm fasting. I'm gonna tell you when I'm sick. Heck, that's not great numbers. I know why, because all the fat and everything I was putting in my body, I vomited it out the last 2 days. I couldn't get my diet under control. That's because my pylorus muscle and the pain, guys. I can't explain to you the pain. It's up here. It's like everything's constricted, and it's like it's horrible. And then here, it's my pylorus muscle. Everything's coming up, and it's contracting. And when everything's trying to go through, it's just I can't handle it. It's like there's a knife through here, and I can't. I'm just curled up in a ball. I can't function. So, thanks to you, I gave up the idea of a long 21-day fast. Yeah. And listen, I'm not saying that you shouldn't at some point target the 21-day fast if it's going to work. But I don't think it's necessary. And it's a marathon, not a sprint. If you don't, I'm not sure if you're stage 4, right? If you're stage 4, if you don't know it's, or if you don't out fast the cancer, then what are you going to do? I think it's a huge question. And we can do it. We can literally get our diet under control, keep the pressure on the cancer. We can pulse the cancer. We can use all the things I just discussed, including immunotherapy. Okay, there's some pretty low toxic immunotherapies. Professor Seyfried's against it. Fair enough. He's got some very good points. Very good points on that. If you're stage 4 though, so what he said when I did my podcast was 20% of the time it works, 20% of the time it's toxic to the body, and 60% of the time it does nothing. That's what Professor Seyfried said on immunotherapy. If you're stage 4 like me and given 3 months to live, I chose to take the risk, 20% chance that it would be ethical or that it would work, that my body would respond well. I thought that was a reasonable risk to take. 60% chance it does nothing. You're just putting a low, but it's pretty low. I took the risk, and I'm taking the risk today. I'm not going to lie about it. Anyone here have a biomarker they have watched while using press pulse? Increasing or decreasing tumor burden can sometimes be tracked pretty well by biomarkers. CA-125 is one example. Yeah, so there's different markers, totally, like PSA levels, for example, on prostate cancers. I heard from somebody the other day, they were doing full press pulse. They were using 6-diazo. They had done a protocol, and their PSA dropped in half after one 21-day cycle, their first cycle. So there you go. I heard from somebody else the other day, 6-centimeter tumor and breast metastasized to their body, gone after 3 protocols. Heard from somebody the other day, lung cancer, and it metastasized to liver in a bunch of places, but 80% reduction in 3 months. I think they did 2 cycles of press pulse. They were using 6-diazo. I heard from somebody doing HBOT that's been alive 3 years. They didn't use any of the substrates we talked about. They used just standard of care, and they coupled it with HBOT, and they've lived 3 years. They were given 3 to 12 months to live. So there you go. Maybe I think HBOT's the key in all this, guys. I really do. Even if your glucose ain't great, like, let's be honest, if you're rocking an 85 glucose and you haven't regularly before using metformin or DAPA, and you're getting into HBOT, you're getting a 15 to 20 point drop in glucose, I believe, from what I understand, 15 points at least. You're down to 70. That's pretty good. And when I get out of HBOT, my glucose is staying low all week. When the weekends, I'm getting a spike in glucose because I'm not in HBOT every day. So yeah, no, that's a great point. Different market. Every cancer has different markers. Mine personally has no marker, so I can't track my progress of my cancer. Unfortunately, there's just no way. Anyways, yeah, guys, let's really open up this conversation on fasting. I think we need to get our diets under control, and I think a perfectly timed fast, if you have all of your pulses on board, using HBOT or I'm not sure what it can be compared to HBOT. There's just the benefits are so astronomical. If you have everything on board that you have in your protocol that you decide is going to work and your diet's in order, and if you're going to use a temporary fast to help pulse the cancer 24 to 36 hours, I think that's the primary way to fast, because I think you can get away with a 36-hour fast if you have enough body mass, of course. Um, I think you can get away with it, and not lose any muscle mass or anything. Yeah, Kathy, he does. Um, I don't know. I don't know what I don't know what his numbers are while he's eating, and I'm not gonna speak for him, and it works for him really well. It gets rid of his chemo side effects, and I know that he's eating a ton and putting his weight back on after, and okay, fair enough. I'm gonna put it back to you and say if you're not, and there's a lot of people doing that, and that's great, except I I would argue that, how do I say this? Because I've heard of a lot of people doing that. I don't wanna call out one person. Now you just called out one person, and I'm not trying to make this about one person because it's not about him. I don't This isn't about him. I've heard from many people that were doing this, and they regretted not putting on the body mass early and getting into a full press pulse early on, using multiple pulses and blocking multiple metabolic pathways at once early on. And instead, they ended up like me, where they're the size of me. So I would argue that if you're not going to add all the metabolic blocking pathways we previously discussed in the paper I'm trying to write, of all the things I've heard from multiple people getting an HBOT, wouldn't you rather go from 160 pounds to 180 pounds of muscle and just have your diet under control and have a GKI below 2.0, glucose 65 with using DAPA and mebendazole with the help of an HBOT doctor while doing the chemo? Now, you might feel a little sicker and there might be some more side effects, but I'm hearing from people that have gone down this path for 2, 3 years, and they were fasting and doing all this stuff, and now they ended up like me, 120, 130 pounds. And now they're trying to apply the full press pulse now because they're given no other hope. They can't have chemo anymore. They can't have this stuff anymore. They've wasted away, and they're going, why did I ever fast? Why didn't I add this stuff in sooner? If I didn't add the stuff in sooner, why didn't I build up my muscle mass and get ready? So I'm hearing a lot of regrets. And okay, so I was talking to 3 people in the last week that have a cachexia. Like it's horrible. And I guess this is why I'm having these conversations all the time now with people that have cachexia. That's where your body, once that process starts, uh, one person says that they're actually seeing benefits going the other way, but the medical industry says you can't reverse it. So your body turns on, and it's really bad in cancer people. People that are 160 healthy pounds can go cabexic all of a sudden, just like that. I don't know if it's worth the risk. Now, I'm not saying it's common, but I think there's a better way of going about this. That's all I'm saying. Based on long-term consequences that I'm hearing from many people adding a full press pulse protocol. I'm just trying to share that information. Since I started making these press pulse videos, I'm getting so much interaction with people. People reaching out saying, "Hey Jay, I've been doing this. Here's what's happened the last 2 years. I'm having 2-hour-long conversations with people. I can't keep up. And I'm just trying to relay this information back. And I'm not picking on Jeff because he's my buddy. Like, I really like Jeff. This has nothing to do with Jeff. So unfortunately, like, please don't ever take this personally, Jeff. If you see this, nobody make this about Jeff. Yeah, like, you have info from other people. Well, I do, and the antidotes go a long ways. We've got other comments here. I had calorie restriction during radiation. For me, that was about 500 to 800 calories per day. I also fasted the days before the day and the day after while doing chemo every 28 days. And then we got a follow-up comment. In Jan, I began fast mimicking diet, restricted calories the day before, day of, and day after because my inhibitor to gain the weight back from fasting. There we go. There's okay. Everybody, what I just said, I just posted another comment. There's another one. More antidotes. And we have another comment here. Another follow-up. I was also diagnosed with diabetes the same time. Really? I was diagnosed with TNBC meds. It's the bone. My tumor markers are at a below normal. In May, PET scan showed NAD. I also did HBOT, off-label prescription drugs. Oh my God, that's everything we just talked about. Honestly, thank you so much for sharing. Thank you. There's right live as I'm saying, I'm hearing all these stories. There's somebody reporting it live. There you go. There you go. And thank you so much for sharing. And I'm so glad for you that you're NED. Well earned. Everybody, like, ring the bell for K Smith. That is honestly almost made me cry reading that because, and it's not just your story, it's so many people. So many people are telling me the same thing you just told me. So many people, which gives us hope, guys. It's hope. We got Happy Dingo. There are some suspected biomarkers for some types of genetic cancer. Jason, I will. Yes, there is. There definitely is. Yes. Fellow Ontarian. Nice. Just wanted to stop by and thank you for everything you're doing, Jay. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. I thank you for your support and watching my video, and thank you for popping by. It helps the algorithms. Tonight was a very special video. If you guys didn't notice the tag at the front, if you guys haven't heard the story, if you guys don't notice, almost every video I'm in, I have this hat, and I have it in different colors. Just on my table. Like, this one doesn't have a side patch. I won a golf tournament. Here's one with a side patch. Me and my buddy got matching side patches. Liver killer champs. Oh, grab it. White, blue. So, like, white, blue. Very special hat. I got gray, green. So it's a long story, but my daughter was the one that basically, when I first got diagnosed, I went downhill real quickly. I'll summarize this quick. Some of you guys have heard this story. But basically, I was in the hospital, came home. I was wearing my golf hat, and I had a Lucky thing on underneath. It said Lucky Strike. And I came home, and I had been away for a week. And of course, my daughter, she's daddy's girl. She's all over me, and she's just so happy I'm home. And I was bedridden basically, but we were laying there cuddling. She goes, "Dad, what's your hat say?" I said, "Lucky Strike." She goes, "Why does it say that?" I said, "Because it's my lucky hat." So she took it off my head, and she goes, "It's got that on it. I want a matching hat like yours." And I said, "Okay, we can get any one you want, honey. What one do you want?" She said, "A black and pink one." So I couldn't find one online after searching for days. So me and my dad and my wife went to meet with the oncologist for the first time. And long story short, they gave me the prognosis in that meeting. And I told everybody, I'm only going to worry about the next 5 minutes. I'm not worrying about it anymore. In the next 5 minutes, I'm going to Lids and I'm going to custom make my daughter this hat. And I did. Anyways, about a week or two later, we had a team discount at Lids and we ordered 150 of these hats. And tonight's special because this is my first video. I'm going to try to do lots of these live podcasts as we go along here, recording my progress. If this works and I'm NED, I really want to publish my case. I'm recording my food. I'm recording everything. I need to do a better job recording GKI. It's on my phone at least, and I just got to check more. I gotta do first thing in the morning. I do right before HBOT, right after HBOT, at nighttime. I got to do it. And doing these podcasts holds me accountable to it. We can review diet, what I'm eating, and we'll talk about when I'm fasting, perfectly timed, short term. again, I really want people using fasting to the greatest advantage with the most pulsing, blocking of the most metabolic pathways possible. But again, guys, I keep getting extremely sick and throwing up, and that makes it hard for me to do these lives because I can't do it when I'm throwing up. Anyways, that's the story behind the hats. The thumbnail to this, a subscriber made for me. So thank you very much to that individual. I don't have permission to use their names. They edited it and made me that thumbnail to match the hat. So it's my lucky hat from my lucky press pulse. The diabetes was the main reason I fasted. Yes. I hope that helped a lot. Congrats. Thank you. Oh, yeah, yeah. Congrats, K. Smith. That's right. Sorry. Congrats, K. Smith. That's right. She's NED. Sorry, I'm just oh, you'll find the article quickly. Google gastric cancer biomarkers. Yes, I will. I definitely will for yes, fantastic. K. Smith. That's right. Thank you for all. Yes, thank you, everybody. This is CMF. Thank you for being here. You're welcome. Ah, that's a great question because I can't get them in Canada. I use MCT oil. I've been fighting desperately to find, exogenous ketones. Sorry, I just gonna wipe my face off. That made me tear up a bit. One of our fabulous subscribers has mailed me some, and then the border wanted a crazy amount for duty. So that individual, please reach back to me. I emailed you today. I don't know. I haven't checked my emails because I was sick most of the afternoon and evening, but if you can, confirm with me because I sent you stuff. Yeah, anyways. Yeah, that's why. I'd love to. I want exogenous ketones. I'm trying to get some. Really working hard on it. I've gotten a lot of supplements that are crazy, but you have another PET scan scheduled for end of August. Blood sugars were 123 now. Average is 88. Nice. GKI. You can use some metformin and some DAPA. I bet you that average will be 68. That's great. So I want everybody to hear what I just said, and you can get prescriptions. I'm not a doctor, so and be careful if your ketones aren't high enough getting into hyperbaric oxygen and using those two things. Okay, be very careful. You better make sure you got the ketones up because you can really drop glucose low below treatment days. Now GKI is 6, trending right direction. Yeah, but your NED, when you're NED, ketogenic diet, eat as much as you can. You know what, K Smith, this is a great thing. This YouTube channel, if I got NED, this YouTube channel isn't ending because now there's a new focus on me, and that's following my maintenance. And right now, this is actually a very good thing to say. I don't know that you need to lower that GKI anymore. You're NED. Build up as much muscle mass as you can. If you go back to my paper, heck, honestly, I don't know what size you are or anything, but get as much lean muscle mass as possible. I heard from a very good source and I haven't looked into it yet. So do your research. Nobody take this as medical advice. This whole SARMs, I believe, I took a note. I'm a bad writer, but LGD 4033 or MK677. Apparently you can get it online, and I think they're a type of steroid, and they'll help you build up lean muscle mass. If you got clean scans, take advantage of it. Don't take the foot off the gas. Like you're still gonna keep fighting. You still I don't know what stage you were, but keep keep fighting. Okay, your fight isn't done. Get some muscle mass on you, and just in case that lean muscle mass will help if you ever needed it in the future. That's all I'm saying, and this is a really good point. So your GKI is at 6. I don't know why you would restrict yourself if you're NED. I don't know why you would. I guess the diabetes part, that's fair. But man, you're killing it. You're killing it. Keep going. Lots of protein, lots of working out. Heck, I'd even try a steroid, but not one that increases glucose and all that stuff like dexamethasone. No, a different kind, an anabolic one, like one they kick you out of the Olympics for. You can get prescriptions from this from a doctor. Anyways, it's something I haven't done enough research in, but I think it's a great talk. I haven't heard enough people NED and what their protocols look like. You are using metformin, nice. Take advantage of this time. I wouldn't worry about driving your GKI down. I'd eat ketogenic diet and build up those muscles, like just some. I'd honestly protein, build up as much lean muscle mass as you can. I don't know what size you are or anything, but your fight, you're NED at the moment. Take advantage. I don't know. That's just what I'm thinking. And take care of your mind. Just take a breath. Take your foot off the gas a little bit, but keep it on the gas, and it's a new focus. Hopefully pulsing with LU-177 on the 26th. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. That's right. That's right. Weightlifting. Guys, we've been on this live for an hour. I'm I'm so happy we got to do one tonight. I love doing this with you guys and the interactions. I really do. This has been fabulous. Again, everything I shared in the previous document is just stuff I've written down and I've kind of compiled it. It's stuff I've heard from many people. It's not what I am doing. I'm not saying what I'm doing. We know my pulse is coming from immunotherapy and a low dose chemo. Um, yeah, a couple more comments here and I think we'll wind her up. I'm looking at SARMs, but it's not legal in the US, lifting weights 3 times a week. No, it's not. It was a US doctor that told me to look at getting it. So there's there's a will, there's a way there, my friend. And if their benefits are there, you do what you got to do. I mean, you just beat cancer. You do what you got to do to recover as quickly as possible and just in I'm not even gonna put it out there. Just recover as quick as you can, get as lean and strong as you can, as quick as you can right now. And that way you're just healthier into the future. Like rebuild as fast as you can. Oxandrolone's fine. Uh maybe I'm not sure about this LG4033. You're gonna have to look into it. 3 times a week weightlifting's awesome. Keep going. You're killing it. This was an amazing night, guys. Any last comments want to come in here and we'll shut her down? Um, I'm I'm glad I got to share my story of the lucky hats and yeah. So tomorrow's D-Day, cycle 2, D-Day. I'm not saying what I'm using to pulse. I shared what I've heard everybody's using a bunch of different options. A big part of my pulse is chemo and immunotherapy. None of this is medical advice. This was sharing the journey of others, not my journey. It's part of it's sharing my journey, but most of it was the journey of others. Kay Smith came in and it was beautiful. Thank you so much, Kay Smith. Kathy, interactions, David, honestly, everybody that's in here. Melissa, honestly, thank you. David, um, Garton, everybody, honestly, I don't know if I'm missing anybody. Daniel, thank you from Ontario. Um, Happy Dingo, thank you. Honestly. Oh, the Vegas. Yeah, put 25 bucks on red for me, would you? Um, yes, weightlifting every day and sauna's cool. Oh, I appreciate you too, Kathy. I appreciate everybody in here. Oh, thank you, David. Thank you. All right, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're watching this afterwards. And again, not medical advice. I'm just sharing stories of others in this one. And my protocol now begins starting tomorrow. I wish I had better numbers going into it, but it is what it is. Love you guys too. Love you too, Busy Vegas. Put 25 bucks on red for me, would you? Oh my God, we just got a super chat. Oh my God, thank you. Thanks, Bob. Oh, thanks, man. That is amazing. Thank you. That's going right to HBot, right to my fight. I really appreciate it, brother. Really appreciate it. All right, guys, I just want to sit here and just keep interacting. I gotta shut her down because I gotta get some rest. I got 4 hours of driving tomorrow in HBot, and then I have enough energy to do one of these. I might not get to it tomorrow because tomorrow's D-Day. So Cheers, guys. Night, David. Night, Kathy. Everybody. Good luck. Thank you. Thank you.